Are we live? Is this thing working? Hey, somebody let me know if this thing's working or not. I'm trying to see if it's on my phone working. So, yeah, I have no idea. If I could get comments in the chat, if this thing is up and running, that would be fantastic. Because if it is, then I'll move into what we're going to do. If it's not, well, we'll figure it out. Hold on, what do we got? Okay, it looks like the microphone's working, right? Well, I can see my mic up there working. What is this little green dot? We working, guys? One in the chat, maybe? Let's see here. Is this thing on? See, technical difficulties, fellas. Technical difficulties. This is why maybe I should have taken Dion's offer up. Oh, I think we're working. Let's see. Offer up. Oh, I think we're working. Oh, nice. All right. What's going on, fellas? How's it going? We're live. We're live. We'll do it live. Has anybody ever seen that Bill O'Reilly clip where he's just like, we'll do it live. Dion, stop paying me super chats. I was happy to give you money. You don't have to give me any back. All right. So for those of you who are here, what I want to talk about today in the very, very short amount of time that we have is how to get started investing out of state or at a distance. So if that's something that you've ever considered or you want to learn more about, you're in the right spot. For those of you who don't know me, I invest in Gary, Indiana, but I live in Seattle, Washington. So I had to figure out how to make my money go further because I didn't want to have to pay $200,000 for a down payment on $1 million property. So I said to myself, I'm going to go try to figure out how to invest in the Midwest where my money goes further. That was one of the main catalysts behind me going out of state. Now, you might be dealing with something similar. So if you're interested in that conversation, then please, by all means, watch this video. Before we get started, I am at 4,965 subscribers. And for those of you who don't know, I made a special offer to the folks who subscribed to me before I hit 5,000 subscribers. When I hit 5,000 subscribers, I'm going to close this offer, but I plan to make a military-style challenge coin like this one right here that will be free to any of my subscribers who subscribed to me before 5,000. All you have to do is subscribe, screenshot that you were subscribed before it said 5,000, and send that screenshot to me in an Instagram DM at Millennial Mike. Once I get that Instagram DM, then you will have locked your position in. And when I hit 15,000 subscribers, which I will hit at one time, it just might be a decade. When I hit it eventually, I will issue and mint military-style challenge coins for my channel only. For all the people who originally subscribed to me and supported me, that will be my thank you. So I said that in a couple videos. I've only had maybe 50 to 80 people take me up on it. I got 40 slots left before I hit 5,000. So if you're not subscribed, fellas, come on. Help a brother out. Okay, so I'm going to put a little poll in the chat. Hopefully it works. The question is, do you invest further than 3 hours from where you live? I'm hoping that poll goes to the chat. I have no idea if it did or didn't. If it didn't, then just down in the chat, let me know if you're currently investing, where you're investing in relation to where you live. A few hours away, a few hundred miles away. Shoot, I got folks who message me from Germany. And they're like, hey, man, how do I invest in the U.S.? I'm like, bro, that's a really great question. I have no idea what the legal paperwork is for you to get a mortgage approved here, but I can help you pick a market. I can help you build a team, and I can help you define your buy box. These are all different things we're going to be talking about. So let's get started. I want to quickly go back to touch on the motivation for investing out of state. For me, it was because I just couldn't make sense of the financial burden, the cost, the barrier to entry that exists on the West Coast, California, Seattle, Portland, New York, Boston, East Coast. I know my geography. Thank you. It's very expensive markets, extremely expensive. And it can be hard. It can be a daunting task to sit there and look at, like, how am I going to save a 20% down payment plus closing costs to start investing in real estate? Now, I started with house hacking here in the Seattle area, but I only had to come up with 5% down. And even that was still 30 grand by the time it was all said and done. And I sat there and said, well, shoot, what should I do? Well, I had a mentor, and I highly suggest that all of you get a mentor. And I'm not going to Tai Lopez you and say, you need knowledge and a mentor. You do need knowledge and a mentor, but I'm not going to sell you a course on how to get it. What you need to do is you need to network with other people. In every single market across the entire country, every real estate market, there's somebody who is making videos about the deals they're doing. There's somebody who's uploading Instagram posts about the deals they're doing. And these people are the experts that you could look to to mentor you. My mentor, Mark, and I, we met in the comment section of a YouTube video that Michael Zuber put out 4 years ago. That's how we met. Now we talk almost every single day. If I had a girlfriend, she might be jealous, but I don't. So, no big deal. All right, so maybe you want to move because it's expensive. Here's another reason that you might want to move. You might be saying to yourself, this is a very anti-landlord state. This is a very high tax state. This is a very anti-business state. Now, I won't delve into the politics surrounding that. I'll just leave it to you to come to your own conclusions as to the color of states that seem to be against businesses and the color of states, the voting color of states that seem to be more pro-business. You come to your own conclusions. I don't want to nudge anybody in the political direction here. So maybe you've said, I don't want to have an eviction moratorium go on for 2 years, including after it was ruled unconstitutional by a federal judge. That just doesn't seem like a game I want to play. So you might be saying to yourself, I'd rather go somewhere where if they don't pay rent, I can get them out in a month instead of 2 years. Call me crazy, but that's probably a market that's a little bit more geared towards good investments and landlord friendly. But, what do I know? The brief history on me, if you happen to be the one person who has found my channel miraculously, and you're not somebody who already knew me from the Three Amigos, One Rental at a Time, Dion Talk Financial Freedom, or Matt, the Lumberjack Landlord. If you don't know me from there or from my own channel and you're actually new, I am a 31-year-old single father, full-time police officer, member of SWAT team. I own 10 units. I own 8 rental properties in 3 different states, Seattle, Washington, Chicago, Illinois, and a bunch in Gary, Indiana, primarily in Gary, Indiana. So I've been doing this for 4 years. I've been studying real estate for much longer than that. It took me a while to get started. YouTube University wasn't quite the prestigious platform of educational content that it is today back when I started watching, but it is significantly better, and I hope to add to it. So why don't we get started? We're going to just assume that you've made the decision to move out of state for whatever the reason is. You don't want to invest in your own backyard. Okay, how do you pick a market? There's a lot of stuff out there. You might have heard things. Hey man, Tulsa, Oklahoma, I've heard good things. Birmingham, Alabama, super cheap. I can find houses for $20,000. Ohio, Iowa, Gary, Indiana, where I'm at, Grand Forks, North Dakota. The Midwest is the best when it comes to pricing. But how do you pick which one? Well, there's a couple of different schools of thought. I think it's a great idea if you already have assets on the ground that you know and trust. So if you're from an area, like I'm from Grand Forks, North Dakota, well, I've got family members that are there. I have friends that are there. I have people who can go by and check up on a property that have no financial obligation to make a payment to me, or for me to make a payment to them. They would just go check it out of the kindness of their heart because we're friends. It's good to have those relationships. Not a bad idea. So potentially, you might want to consider a market you already have ties to. Another thing, like I grew up in North Dakota, Grand Forks, North Dakota. So I know what parts of the town are the nice areas, where what parts of the town get higher rents, what parts of the town have higher crime, where people want to live, what I would be willing to pay to live in certain areas. That insider knowledge, you've already done some of the work of a real estate investor by becoming educated on your market because you grew up there, you have ties there. So that can be something you can build on. That's not what I did. I looked at Grand Forks, North Dakota, and I was like, well, I know a lot about it, but I think I can do better. And I decided to follow my mentor, Mark's lead, who at the time had like 9 rentals. I'd watched him grow from like 2 to 9. And then now he has like 25. And it got to the point where I was like, I can't keep making excuses as to why I can't do this. So I'm just going to give it a shot. But yeah, so let's real quick. I'm going to go through a couple of these chats real quick. Dion Talk Financial Freedom, glad to see you do this. Well, you bullied me into it, big dog. Dividend Dave, congratulations on closing yesterday. I think I posted your story to my Instagram. If you guys want to be praised for the success, DM me on Instagram. If you just closed the deal, I'll put it on my stories. Dividend Dave got his first house hack. He's going to be moving. I'm sad because I've seen him at our financial meetups with Dion. That's super cool. He asked me a question. What are some of the biggest mistakes one can make when first investing long distance? Yeah, not using a property manager. Thinking that you're going to know the local laws, tenants, and manage it from a distance. Yeah, we can dive in on this a little bit more. Looks like people are commenting. Shoot. Okay, we'll get back to these in just a second. Okay. Well, the poll worked. Did it work? Top chat. Yes, 69%. Guys, this is my first time doing it live on YouTube, all right? It's going to be steaming garbage. You know it. I know it. If you've watched my channel before, you already were expecting this. You're welcome. I'm not sure if I'm reading my own poll right. 69% yes. I'm not seeing any no's. I guess if I have to do the quick math, that's what, 31% no? Okay. All right. So you make the decision. Dude, I'm getting SWAT texts over here. Guys, I'm busy. You make the decision to go out of state. You're trying to decide a market. Maybe you have local ties to a market that you want to build off of that experience. Maybe you don't. Well, then how do you pick a market from there? So what I would recommend is decide what's important to you. What I was looking for was cash flow. I wasn't trying to play an appreciation game. I wanted to get inexpensive houses, inexpensive rental properties that would rent for a decent amount of money and provide me with a good cash flow. And I looked at a whole bunch of different markets. But the reason why I picked Gary, Indiana, was because I knew somebody. I knew somebody who was investing there. And I knew who they used as their turnkey provider. I knew who they used as their property manager. I know who they used as contractors to do repairs. So they had done a lot of the legwork to build a network and a team for me that I could piggyback off of. I didn't have to do the trial and error while being a brand new real estate agent or a real estate investor with limited funds to invest. You don't want to be the experiment. Plagiarism is not encouraged in school. I don't know why, because it's fantastic in the real world. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. I copy and paste success of other investors into my life on a regular basis. I steal from them. I take their ideas. I give them credit for it. But I mean, really, really, truly, I do my very best to just copy and paste other people's success. So I would encourage you to do the same. There's no reason for you to come out here and think you're going to do it better. You, with your infinite wisdom and knowledge, as a brand new real estate investor who has no experience, somehow are going to outplay people who've been in the market for 10, 20, 30 years. Not likely. So yeah, I built off experience. So I picked Gary, Indiana, even though a quick Google search, right? A quick Google search of Gary, Indiana says America's most miserable city. 3 times the national poverty rate, 3 times the national crime rate. Population dropped from 200,000 to like 66,000 over the last 50 years. Deindustrialization, as jobs left our country after NAFTA was signed in the 70s, and U.S. steelworks left the country, and now we import all Chinese steel. A company that had 90,000 employees now has 5,000 employees. I mean, it's a sob story. It's a heart story. It's a very common tale for the Rust Belt of America. But yeah, you're sitting there, a quick Google search, you'd say to yourself, I don't want to invest here. I can't make it work here. Well, I got good news for you. There are people, there are investors, there are successful real estate investors in every single market all across the country, everywhere. So that means you just need to find those people and copy what they're doing. So I would highly recommend, if you are interested in picking a market, take a couple of them. You might not know much about them, but as you're Googling around or on Bigger Pockets or considering different markets to invest in, start looking up the videos produced by content creators in those areas. Go on Bigger Pockets. Who's posting in forums related to those areas? Network with those people. I mean, how many of us, I know half the people that are here watching this right now, Jerniel Diaz, I've seen you on Dion and the Lumberjacks live stream. Ryan Allen, I'm pretty sure I've seen. Dividend Dave, obviously. Deanna Ward, obviously. Who else? I saw somebody else in here. REI Stoners. Bro, I see you comment on all this stuff. Look at all of the networking that you have done with me already. I've never met you. I might never meet you, but I recognize you and chat with you. This is why Dion can appreciate this. When I was a kid and got made fun of for spending more time with my World of Warcraft online friends, I didn't realize I was actually legitimately building a skill of being able to network with people to the point where you develop a friendship, to the point where you develop like a trusting, respectful friendship where I would take advice from somebody or give advice to them, all just by for the Horde, all just by playing World of Warcraft with these people, spending hours of my teenage years not working on getting a girlfriend, but instead raiding and completing quests like a loser. But it built a good skill because I can virtually network. And I really truly think like all of the guys that are watching this right now, and even if you're not commenting, if you're watching, I can't believe I actually have 18 people. 18 people are wasting their time with me. You guys, stop it. You have the ability to network and develop these relationships and friendships it's very hard if you try to reach out to somebody who's a big content creator. And this isn't their fault, right? I mean, they get inundated with thousands, if not tens of thousands of DMs and emails. And they can't possibly, you just get lost in the sauce. But there's little guys like me. There's people who don't have big channels that you can network with and start to learn from. So that's what I would recommend. So you probably want to pick the market. And maybe it isn't even the best market, but I would preference a market where I had contacts with other investors and felt comfortable with a team that I could build there. And maybe my returns are a little bit lower than a market that I might get hypothetical returns that are better at, but I have no team, I have no network, and I have no contacts. Not going to work out for you long term. One tenant turnover, one eviction, one bad experience, one property manager who steals from you, one misstep and you do the wrong thing because you're not familiar with the laws, you can end up in a lawsuit, lose all of your profit for the next 2-3 years. God forbid you get sued big time and lose. So highly preferencing building my network and building my team first. That's more important than the deals that I'm going to be doing, because the deals aren't going to actually pencil out unless you do them properly. And you're not going to do them properly unless you're getting coached. So much of what we do in life is really about how well you were coached, who instructed you, and who taught you. All right, let me actually get through a couple of these questions, then we'll continue on. Okay, so Dividend Dave said, what are some of the biggest mistakes that one can make when first investing long distance? Also, will you go down the slides face first? Dion won't do it. 100% I'll go down the slides face first. For those of you who don't know, Dion and I did a 5-minute live where we were going down these slides. And so I look large next to Dion. He's actually 5'2". I'm only 5'8". And so I just look large. I'm not that big, but I have hairy legs. Okay. So it was ripping the hair out. So I was and I was leaning back. It was not, anyways, it was a bit of an overshare, whatever. Biggest mistake that somebody can make, in my personal opinion, trying to manage your properties from a distance when you don't know anybody in that market. Dude, tenants, you might not even know the culture of that market. Here in Washington and Seattle, it's very common to provide appliances. I provide the washer dryer, I provide the dishwasher, I provide the refrigerator. That's just normal here. In Gary, Indiana, tenants bring all their own appliances. So, I could have just very easily put stuff in there. There's no need. I could have overspent, overinvested, thought I was buying a house. Oh, there's no appliances. Oh, I guess I'll furnish it. I would have been just a simple, dumb thing like that. I just don't know the cultural difference of what's normal there versus what's normal here. And you can lose money, get your appliances stolen from you. So don't manage a property from a distance. The only exception would be I've managed my duplex here in the Seattle area for a number of years. When I eventually move to Florida, which I will because I am getting out of this state, would I continue to manage this duplex? Yes. Why? Well, I have family and friends in the area who can swing by if needed to check on the property, make sure it's not burning down or being left in disarray. And I'm also comfortable with the laws and the contracts because I've self-managed my own duplex for a number of years. But if I'm going to go to a new market like Chicago, where I just purchased a house 6 months ago and it's almost done being remodeled and I'm about to place the Section 8 tenant in there and I don't have a property manager lined up, I'm stressed about that. Very stressed. And I'm looking for referrals and talking to people. Now, one of my other mentors, Dominic, manages 60 of his own rentals in the area. He's offered to help me, so I'm not too stressed about it, but definitely uncomfortable because I don't want to get involved and deal with that at all, nor should you, because you're going to screw it up or get taken advantage of. So don't manage your own properties from a distance. Calculate in the cost of paying a property manager. I promise you, you'll thank me later. All right. Dividend Dave saying, hey to Johnny Cashflow, Deanna Ward, hi. Or as Dion would say, howdy. Let's see here. Ryan Allen. Hello, all. What's up, Ryan? Dion Top. Howdy, howdy. Dion, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. I will be on a live on your channel, but not today. Yes, you will. When I figure out how to do Zoom and invite people and stream it like that, 100% you will. Okay, Chris Ledbetter. I may be the only millennial that isn't on Instagram. Dude, I'm telling you right now, I resisted the urge to be on Instagram for years, to my own detriment. I shouldn't have. I'm going to tell you a quick story about my grandpa. Now, my grandpa, 70 years old. And if you're watching this, grandpa, leave a comment down below. Come on. My grandpa and my grandma are two very different people. I love them very much. My grandma loathes new technology, hates when a new TV gets purchased, hates having to try to learn the new phone and the remotes and everything like that. And I don't blame her. It's complex. It's annoying. Let me do what I'm used to doing. It's worked for me all this time. Why do I have to change it? I get it. But here's the problem. The world is going to tell you to pound sand and kick rocks. So the only thing that you can do is to say to yourself, as annoying as it is to learn TikTok and Instagram and all of this baloney, I need to do it because I don't want to get left behind. And yes, back in 2012 when Instagram launched, it was a bunch of basic white chicks who drink Starbucks and like to post pictures of the food and take photographs. Now, it's the number one way that people connect with each other. The number one way. Nobody uses email anymore. You find the individual on Instagram. You friend them, you follow them, you can look at their profile. Oh, I see what they're about. They got a family. They're investing in real estate. They're posting about their successes. They seem to be a respectable, well-liked business person. They've got a bunch of positive comments. This is your profile. It's far better than LinkedIn, in my opinion. So as much as you hate the idea of Instagram, I hate the idea of Instagram. Dude, you need to get it. You need to curate it to make it look like you're a professional. It's one of the ways you're going to use to network with other people. Don't resist. Don't try to resist acclimating to the technology, right? My grandpa embraces technology. He is very tech savvy. He's like the technical author on some of those For Dummies books for like cameras and things like that. He embraces all new technology and he understands it. My grandma doesn't. And dude, I feel bad for her when we go out to eat and there's the little card slider thing and it's touch screen just to pay. And it's tough. You know, I don't want that to be you. So, all right, don't resist Instagram. I'm going to take a drink here. It is really hot in here. I probably should get some air conditioning in this room. All right, here we go. Ryan Allen just took the screenshot. I house hack a duplex right now, looking for a second house hack nearby. Fantastic, Ryan. Dion has been coaching me up. Again, this is why I think it's important to have mentors. Take criticism, take coaching. Dion tells me all the time, dude, you've been in the same duplex for 4 years. It's time for you to house hack and move into another duplex, put another 3.5 to 5% down, get another one. Dion, you're 100% right. I do need to make that happen. Sorry about that. Thanks for taking the screenshot, Ryan. Journiel Diaz, welcome, Mike, the fourth amigo. Let's make it official already. Journiel, I appreciate that to no end. I really do. But hear me out for a second, okay? Dion, the Lumberjack, and Michael Zuber are big dogs. These are investors that have been doing it. Well, Dion's the newest, and he's still been doing it for 10 years. The Lumberjack and Zuber are 20 years. Dion's totally financially free, 16 units. The Lumberjack and Zuber, 121 units and like 190 units. These guys are like the giants whose shoulders I could maybe stand on one day. And as much as I feel complimented by people who say, oh yeah, you should join and be the fourth amigo. Dude, the Three Amigos is the second most popular YouTube show on the One Rental at a Time channel, behind his daily news. For a reason. They have high quality. They make sure that they keep the advice that they're giving top-notch quality. And not that I don't give good quality advice, but they've just experienced so many more things than I have. So I like we've done a few four-way discussions. We called it the REI Avengers, and I made them Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, and I was, Spider-Man. So, the little kid, if you're a fan of the Tom Holland versions. Anyways, but yes, as much as I will happily fill in, dude, the Three Amigos are the Three Amigos, and I'm a little amigolito, maybe, one day. Alrighty, Fourth Musketeer, nice. Okay, Dividend Dave, in Washington, investing in North Carolina will soon be local, but will long-distance investment when I get my Gary home. Oh, cool, so Dividend Dave, you're planning on going to Gary. Fantastic, and for those of you who don't know, if you want to invest in Gary, Indiana, I don't hide my network from anyone. Anybody can talk to Mark. He has a YouTube channel. It's called Maskey Finance. You can talk to my mentor, Mark, directly on his YouTube channel. He responds to every comment. He gives his email out all the time. You can talk to my real estate agent. I've interviewed them multiple times on my channel. All their contact info is there. My property manager, all of their interviews and contact info is there. The turnkey provider I bought my first Gary rental from, all of their contact information. I will give you the keys that I used to get the castle. I'm not trying to hide it. It's not behind a paywall. You can chat with the same people I did. If you like them, use them. If not, use somebody else. Lender, same thing. You could use the lenders I used. Okay. Is a Def Tech NFDD on? Shoot, Chris Sheffield, are you law enforcement? That's exactly what this is. Don't worry, it's already been used, and I just picked it up after we did an operation. So for those of you who don't know, yes, this is a defense technology noise flash diversionary device, an NFDD. It is colloquially a flashbang grenade, and we use them in the SWAT world to interrupt people's Ooda Loop. And what your Ooda Loop is, it's what happens when you decide to take action. You have to observe, orient yourself, make a decision, OOD, make a decision, act, and then you go through that loop, Ooda Loop. And so if you can interrupt somebody as they're observing, orienting, making a decision, and acting, you interrupt them, then they have to restart the loop. So it's a way that we can hopefully avoid ourselves from being injured by just surprising people. They don't hurt anybody unless you were to like blow it up in your hands. Then it can obviously kill you, but it's just really loud and bright. So anyways, yes, that's exactly what that is, Chris Sheffield. Good eye. I'm curious to know what you do for a living. REI Stoners. Hi, Mike. Just subscribed recently and glad I caught the slang. Did you start out house hacking? Absolutely. It's the number one way to get started investing in real estate. In my opinion, it is the best way you can, but not the only way. So I've helped multiple people get started investing in Gary, Indiana, including one of my good friends, Darius, who watches a lot of my videos. He might be watching this. I don't know. Darius bought his first and his second rental in Gary, Indiana, using my real estate agents, my property managers, my team, my lenders, everybody that I use, he used, still living with mom and dad, 25 years old. A year and a half ago, he was working at Starbucks making $13 an hour. Didn't know if he could do anything better than that. And he tells me all the time, dude, thanks for plucking me out. Thanks for helping me out. You saved me. Bro, all I did was point to where the rope was, and you climbed out of the pit 100% on your own. Dude, Darius is a stud. Didn't start with house hacking. 2 rentals, 25 years old, both of them cash flowing like, I don't know, 15 to 20% in Gary, Indiana, still living with mom and dad. He's hoping to house hack somewhere around here. He might do the roommate hack like Todd Baldwin. He's going back and forth trying to figure out what he can make happen. But he went from 13 bucks an hour at Starbucks to getting a job from my brother at a security company, making 20. He just got a raise to $26 an hour, unlimited overtime, 15 grand a year to 80 grand a year in just a year and a half. Dude, Darius is like an American success story. All right. Oh, shoot. Lumberjack just gave me 10 bucks too. Dang. But there was like no question with it. Oh, I'll just have to blow you a kiss later, buddy. Sorry. Alrighty. It's not wasting time if you learn something new. I assume that was a reference to me saying my live streams are a little bit of a waste of time. They could be. All right. You are never a waste of time. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind words. Dividend Dave. Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on. These are jumping around. Do you have a lawyer go over your property agreement papers before you sign them? So are we talking about what REI Stoners? Do you have a lawyer go over your property agreement papers before you sign them? Are you talking about, is this like in a lease, or is this when I'm actually making the purchase of the property itself? So when I've purchased, of the 8 houses I have 4 traditional mortgages. 2 I purchased with cash that I had from a HELOC, and 2 I did seller financing. With a seller financing, I had Mark, this is a great reason to network, my mentor, Mark, paid a lawyer to draw up a contract to purchase on seller financing with a land contract. And then I didn't have to pay anybody. Mark just forwarded me the document. Wonderful. That I used because I know it's already been used by Mark to buy from the same guy I'm buying from. And the lawyer's already looked at it. And I got to just copy and paste, literally copy and paste somebody else's hard work into my life. Fantastic. That could be you. When you purchase a house in Chicago, Illinois, very interesting. I'm not sure what the real estate agents really do, because you actually buy a house with a real estate agent, but also a lawyer. All a real estate agent does is make the offer. But in terms of like going back and forth with the title company and the other agent, actually lawyers that are hired that are doing all of the back and forth. So the real estate agent just shows you properties, which as an out-of-state investor, I don't even go look at them. I just ask him to go swing by and see if there's anything major. If I think I need an inspection, we'll get a formal inspection. But yeah, so lawyers will help in Chicago, or in Illinois, it's by law you have to use a lawyer. In Indiana, with the seller financing, I did get something that went through a lawyer. And then when I've used traditional financing, traditional loans, I didn't use a lawyer. But I mean, I use a title company every time. I pay for title search and title insurance. And, you know, the title companies, of course, are going to be held liable if they make some sort of mistake. And they're also pretty professional at what they're doing. If you're buying a house through them, they're going to kind of carry you through the process. So I have not had to go out of my way to hire an individual real estate attorney. Again, this is another reason why I probably shouldn't be an amigo, because I bet you Matt and Mike have a bunch of times. There's something I can't really give much advice on. Okay. Congratulations, Mike. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Laura Samaniego. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I apologize. Laura, thank you for being here. Journey Diaz, glad to be part of the less than 5K subscriber club. You're the man. Do you recommend 2 property managers as a backup, and how do you vet them? Great question. And the big Zoob and I were actually talking about doing 2 deep dives. So we've had requests to do deep dives on his channel on how to get started in out-of-state real estate investing. And we've had people request to do a deep dive on property managers. So we're planning those out in the next few weeks here. Again, I'm more experienced with out-of-state investing, but it's almost laughable for me to say I'm more experienced. He's head and shoulders above me. There's just no contest. I mean, he's the big Zoob for a reason. Property managers, how do you vet them? The number one way, and I'm going to push people back towards this over and over and over again, the most important person on your team that you can know when you start investing out of state is other investors in that market. Why? They've already done all the hard work. They have already gone through the headaches of firing and hiring property managers, contractors, real estate agents, wholesalers, what have you. And you go to them and you talk to as many investors as you can. Well, who do they all say sucks and who do they all say is good? You're probably going to want to start with who they all say is good. That's who you're going to want to chat with first. And then if you do that, what kind of questions are you asking? Well, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter the interview you do with them, because people can lie, people can mislead you, people can know what you want to hear and say the right things. I care significantly more about the referral from somebody who isn't trying to sell me something and just has my best interest at heart, and who also doesn't want to look bad by giving me a bad referral. That's what I care about the most. But that being said, I did call and speak with 4 or 5 property managers at this point I've talked to in Gary. I do have 2. I have 2, and I'm not unhappy with my primary property manager. There are some things I think we could work on. Communication. It's a little bit slower than I would like. But it's not to the point where it's so bad. And I hate to even say it's bad, because I don't want to talk badly about my property manager. They do a great job. They're just a little slower to communicate than I would have liked. They've gotten substantially better over the last 6 months. But I did decide last year to put a house with a new property manager that I had also gotten a referral from. So I could already start establishing that relationship with that guy in case I needed it out. I've had a great experience with that guy. He's done fantastic, exceeded my expectations. Now, again, I'm not having a bad experience over here, so I'm not going to burn bridges, offend people, and take away a potential source of deals, because 2 of my seller financing deals came from the first property manager. I'm not going to burn those bridges. But when I get a new property, I have since bought a new property. I went back to the first manager because I really like the way they do their repairs and remodels. If I get another property, I might stick with the second one, might do it with the first one. I don't think it's ever a bad idea to have options. Can an argument be made that it could complexify? Is that a word? I have no idea. Matt, if you're in the chat, let me know. Complexify, complicate. There we go. Complicate the process by having 2 property managers. I really haven't noticed that. Yeah, I had to go through the setup of a few hours of conversation and filling out the paperwork, but I mean, they both do automatic direct deposits into the same bank account. I get a statement. It's really not that complex. It would just come down to if one of them sucked. And if you have somebody that sucks, at least you've got somebody on standby and a relationship built. So is it a necessity to have a second property manager? Probably not. Is it going to hurt you? No. Will it take a bunch of extra time? Not really. Maybe a little bit. Not really that much. So, okay. I literally only joined IG to follow Lumberjack, Zuber, Dion, and now Millennial Mike. Dude, Journey, you are my boy. I personally think it's great that you're in an earlier phase of your investment journey. Thank you. Your advice is still gold. I appreciate that, and offer that great perspective on out of state, which others don't. And I am glad to happily talk about things that I do have experience in where others don't. Happy to fill that hole in the one rental at a time family of investors. So yeah, and that was the purpose of my channel. You know, probably like a lot of you guys, you watched Meet Kevin, Graham Stephan, Grant Cardone, Chris Crone, a lot of these big time real estate investors, you know, and I was watching them in 2017, 2018, saying to myself, okay, the story they're telling me of how they got successful at real estate investing, this story, is this really how they did it? Or are they sugarcoating and only cherry picking the parts that make them look good? What did it really look like? How long did it really take for them to become who we all know today? So my very first video, which please don't go watch, please, I'm begging you. I just did an interview with Business Insider, and she was like, yeah, I went back and watched your first YouTube videos. I was like, you're still willing to talk to me? Wow, this is risky reporting, Kathleen. They're cringy, low quality, terrible camera angles, but I've got no money in the bank. I've got no real estate. I'm renting. I'm recently divorced. Don't have custody of my son yet. Paying child support. And I went from that Story very similar to Dion, just not as handsome as he is, but went from that to where I'm at right now. If I can do it with my low temperature, room temperature IQ and my all-season high school, if I can do it, so can you. Chris Sheffield, prior military and LEO, dude, you stud. Yeah, that's good eye over there. I'm impressed. Jeremy Kirkwood, dude. Jeremy's a good dude. He and I had a conversation about doing short-term rentals in Indiana. He has actually a really good program. I think I'm probably going to do some business with him. I'm just waiting to complete a couple of my cash out refinances on the Burr strategy houses I'm working on right now. But he's a good dude, big supporter of the One Rental at a Time family. I highly recommend you follow him as well. BSWG. Afternoon, Mike and all. What's going on, buddy? Nice to meet you. Chris Ledbetter. I'm also going to try Gary. Have rentals in Indy, but yields have really tightened. I think I'm going to try your turnkey provider. So I bought one property ever from my turnkey provider. Just one. They did a great job. No complaints. You can go back and watch the video. When I closed on it, there was like a confusion over the roof. They told me the roof was new, and then it wasn't. Then they said, oh, this was our mistake. The garage roof is new, but we told you the house roof is new. We'll put a new roof on for you. No cost. I didn't have to delay closing. They just said it was an oversight on their part. Dude, the Olsen Group turnkey providers, fantastic job. Couldn't recommend them more highly. The problem is they are suffering from their own success, to quote the wonderful philosopher DJ Khaled. So many people, the word is out. So many people want to use them. They can't possibly provide enough turnkey rentals to satisfy all the people who want to buy from them. And so it can be very hard to get a deal, extremely hard. And then their prices has gone up. They're subject to inflation and things like that. And so prices have gone up on houses. When my mentor Mark was buying from them, he was getting like $40,000 to $60,000 houses. I got a $60,000 house from them. Now, routinely, their houses are $90,000, $100,000. They're nice houses. I mean, that still sounds very cheap to people who aren't from the area. But if you know the market, as long as I have, and everything's inflated all across the country. So again, not their fault, but watch their prices go up and things like that. It's tough. I was able to go to the MLS and buy newly remodeled houses or houses that I think I can remodel, and then I can pick up the equity gain from doing the remodel myself. Again, that's a little bit more of a complex investment strategy. I don't recommend that for your first one. If I was you, use either a turnkey provider or go to the MLS, but buy something that is turnkey. It's ready to have somebody move in day one. You don't have the network yet to do the repairs. You don't have the systems in place. I wouldn't start with a Burr strategy. So turnkey is a great idea, or MLS. And honestly, I would even rather get a turnkey property from a turnkey provider with no tenant in it. I'd rather place the tenant myself using my property manager. The Olsen Group has their own in-house property manager. They like to sell something and then hook you up with their property manager, which makes complete sense. It's just a way for them to keep cash flow coming in on the property they've sold. But I like to place my own tenants using the system I have in place with my property managers because they have never led me astray. So, pro tip. Okay. I'm going to catch up with these comments, and then I'm going to be able to get back to my monologue of how to get started investing out of state. Dividend Dave, do you have any new markets you're looking to start investing in other than Chicago, where I have one house that's the newest market I moved into? No, I got a good thing going in Gary. Would I see myself potentially moving out of Gary at some point? Yeah, for just the sole purpose of diversification. If I can get 50 in Gary, I hope to move to Florida. When I move to Florida, I'm going to house hack. I also want to buy a condo on the beach in Florida. And in order to afford that, I also won't want to live in the condo all the time. So I'll probably do short-term rentals, try my hand at short-term rentals with a condo, live there when I want, rent it out to people coming to Miami when I want, and then house hack so that I'm paying for each one of those properties pays for itself. And then we'll see what happens from there. So I guess Florida is the only one I'm potentially looking at. REI Stoners, now I got to watch it. I've been thinking about starting a channel, but don't feel I have much to offer yet. So I'm just documenting our journey. Dude, 100%. Even if nobody ever watches it, REI Stoners, even if nobody ever watches it, how cool will it be to show your kids, your family, your friends one day? Dude, here's a video of me, and it's cringy as it is, so it's not super cool in my case. But yeah, dude, there's a video of me saying, here's my goal. I have $1,000 in my bank account. I'm going to start working a ton of overtime and save money, and I'm going to try to do a house hack. And 8 months later, video of me closing on a house hack after I worked an F ton of overtime It was ridiculous. And then, all right, I closed on my house hack. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get number 2, but I'm going to get number 2. A year and a half later, number 2. 3.5 years later, done with number 8. You know, it's cool just to have that for yourself, even if nobody watches it. So don't let other people watching it be your metric for success. Because honestly, guys, I mean, not a lot of people watch my stuff. If we're being honest, I get a couple hundred views per video. Just is what it is. Hey, if you haven't liked the video yet, feel free, by all means, you know, if you want to like it. Dion, what is your freedom number? You've asked me this before, Dion. The reason I don't like this question is, okay, what's my freedom number? Does this mean what is the number that I need to retire and maintain a bare minimum lifestyle where I just cover all of my like basic living expenses? Or does this mean a freedom number where I get to send my kid to the school that I want to send him to and actually drive cars that I've looked forward to driving my whole life? I have 2 beaters out there. Like Matt, I want a Lamborghini one day. It's a dream of mine since I played Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2 back in the day. If you know those games, Snoop Dogg intro song on number 2, especially Riders on the Storm, dude, leave one in the chat. So should I make my freedom number the bare minimum cost? Because I don't want to live a bare minimum lifestyle. Okay, well then if not, then should I make it, all right, well then what's the luxury cost that I want? You know, which one? Yes, could I cover all of my bills exactly where I'm at right now with a little bit less than $4,000 a month? Yeah, I could. But I wouldn't be able to save for real estate in the same way that I am now. I wouldn't be able to continue to grow. So I'm not okay with that. I need an arbitrary number. $10,000 a month allows me to save a majority to continue to invest and grow from that point forward. And be able to put my kid in the school I wanted to go to, get cars, take some vacations, you know, get some ladies. Isn't that why we all do everything? Is that chauvinistic of me? I'm sorry, fellas. It's true, though. All right. Afro-capitalist, my man. I bought my first rental property today because of Mark, and it's a long distance because of you. Thank you. Dude, freaking fantastic, man. Do you have Instagram? Bro, like, screenshot me, Chris. Thank you for that $9 super chat. You're the man. To feed the algorithm. Great stuff, Mike. Thank you, Chris. Afro-capitalist. Dude, screenshot that and DM me the fact that what you just said right there, a picture of the house or something. Let me post you on Instagram. Dude, that's fantastic. Congratulations. Congratulate my boy over here getting his first rental. Where's it at? Is it in Gary? Because of Mark and me, I assume it's probably in Gary. And yeah, if you're not watching my mentor Mark's channel, you really should. Dividend Dave, how did you snowball so quickly with properties? Was it purely saving up cash flow or did you recycle capital? Great question. And I'm going to be honest. It did not feel quickly. It did not feel quickly. It felt slow. A good friend of mine, somebody who's been on my channel, has been on Mark's channel. He's referred to as helicopter pilot Caleb. Caleb, 26 years old. Caleb has 22 rental properties. I think 22, 23, all in Gary, Indiana. Caleb looks really good in aviators, is a helicopter pilot in the Coast Guard, I think, maybe the National Guard or the Coast Guard. 26 years old. Beaten the living daylights out of me, left and right, in terms of his ability to scale, the deals that he gets. He just crushes it. Right? Him and his wife, studs. Everything is relative. Everything's about perspective. Compared to Caleb, I am moving at a snail's pace. And I'm not jealous to the point where like jealous has a negative connotation, but like I'm jealous. I wish I could be as good as him. I wish that I could advance as quickly as him. And when people say, oh, you shouldn't compare yourself to others, you should only compare yourself to yourself, that's stupid. That's dumb. It's terrible advice. You shouldn't compare yourself to others in an unhealthy way where you like hate them or hate yourself, but you should compare yourself to others and have someone that you aspire to be like, and have somebody that you look up to, and have somebody that you can follow. And dude, I look at Caleb, dude, the kid's a stud. He's just a stud. There's no way around. Just banging out houses left and right, 20% yields, putting them in a self-directed IRA, paying all cash, getting seller financing. You know, I mean, he's just a stud. I highly recommend you find the videos of him on my channel or Mark's channel. He's a good dude. I look at him and I'm like, God, he's moving so fast. But you know what? Then you look at these kids that Dion knows, Cody and Christian. In like 2 years, they went to 200 units. That's fast. So what's fast? When I look at my own journey, I sit here and go, man, I feel like I've gone so slow. I wish I could go faster. I just want to get the next one. I want to be financially free right now. Well, guess what? Anything that's worth having throughout all of human history in your life for the rest of time is always going to be worth struggling and fighting for every single freaking day. And even if it takes me another 5 years, which God, I hope it doesn't, to retire. But if it does, I'm going to get there one day. And so to Dividend Dave, thanks for making it seem like I'm going fast. I'm not. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of people who move way faster than me. There's probably people who move way slower than me. Keep doing the work, being disciplined, pushing forward. You have a goal in mind. You're moving towards it. Save the money. Yeah, in my case, it was saving money up for the next one, saving money up for the next one. In between my house hack and buying my second rental property, I had to drop $50,000 to go to court to get my son. Now, that's a story in and of itself. But going to court costs, as a dude, 85% of the time, the lady gets, custody of the kids. So it was a very long and difficult process. And Dion and I have lamented those struggles together, as we are both statistical anomalies in the fact that we got our kids. But it was expensive. Anyways, okay, let's move on. Dude, Chris Ledbetter, one more time, let me say thank you. $10 super chat. That really means the world. To feed the algorithm. Great stuff, Mike. Dude, the more this gets pushed out to YouTube, I say it in all my videos all the time, I can't stand fake gurus. I can't stand people who have channels where they give bad advice, or they give fluff advice, or they don't even give advice at all. They just try to get you hyped up on motivational porn to make you happy, and then you'll come back and watch more of it, and you'll never get any actionable steps to actually make your life better. I don't want to waste your time. I want you to get to where I'm at, and then all of us can get to where Dion's at, and then all of us can get to where Zuber's at together. That's what I want for you. So if you can promote me up the algorithm and knock other people down the algorithm, that's the freaking dream. Chris, thank you very much. BSWG. The first video I saw of you was you walking in a park or just a random place. Dude, that's probably my original 5 steps to get a duplex house hack. That's one of my most popular videos. It has 40,000 views. Most of my videos have 200 views. So cool, man. I appreciate that. That's awesome. REI Stoners. It's been a year since I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and we have paid off our $3,000 of credit card debt. Fantastic. Living very frugal. Good job. Saved $26,000. Built credit. Moved to Washington. Joined the Tacoma FI, and learning a ton. Oh, REI Stoners. Have we met? I've gone to a bunch of the Tacoma FI meetups. Have we connected and met there yet? I don't know. I haven't been the last couple months because I was working. But yeah, I go to Dion's Tacoma FI. Saved $26,000. Great job on paying your credit card debt off. You've got more than enough money, in my opinion, to start house hacking or buy a rental property. Dude, like you said, it's time to make an offer. It is time. Dude, you're going to make your first step. I'm happy for you. Dividend Dave and REI Stoners, congrats. Afro, yes. Journey L. Diaz, what are the logistics after a seller accepts a seller financing offer? Wondering in terms of contract process, loan servicing, etc. Great question. Great question. I just did an interview with Business Insider on my real estate investment journey. Then she called me back 3 days later, and she was like, yeah, at one point you said seller financing is the holy grail of real estate investing. Can we do another interview about that? And I said, sure, let's do it. So she and I were on the phone last night for 30 minutes talking all about seller financing. When I closed on my first property, just after, literally the day I closed is the day I met Michael Zuber. I posted a picture of myself on Facebook like a teenage girl begging for likes of me holding a key. And Michael Zuber was like, dude, congratulations. You want to come on my YouTube channel? And I was like, sure. You want to come on mine? He had less than 2,000 subscribers. I had 200. And that's how we met. And he told me, he said, I want you, because I asked him, anytime a dude is successful as that, takes time out of his day to talk directly to you for an hour and a half. Get as much advice as you can. And I asked him, what do you think I should do to do better? He said, you need to network more, and you need to focus on seller financing. So I've tried my best to do those two things, especially networking. The reason why seller financing is so fantastic is, most of you know, yes, Mr. Seller, I can give you your price, but at my terms. Now let's talk about the terms. You cut out the middleman, no bank, no credit checks, no closing costs, no origination fee. I mean, you're going to have your title search and history fee. But other than that, much simpler, quicker, faster. The terms can be whatever you want. I don't know if any of you guys watched the Flip Anything USA channel with Tom McKay. Dude, he talks about just handwriting contracts out on a piece of paper. It's like, dude, contract's a contract. We can write it out. You sign it, I sign it. We can go get this thing notarized. It's a contract. Now, obviously, it's not going to be as valid probably as one that's been put together with an attorney. You're not going to have all your bases covered, but it doesn't have to be complex. So what's the process like? My seller financing contract is 2 pages, and it just stipulates a very few things. I think in one of the videos I did on seller financing, I actually go through and look at the contract. If I haven't, I'll do another video on that, so you can look for that later. Once you have the contract in hand, you contact the title company. You say, excuse me, title company, we are going to conduct this transaction. Here is our contract. Here are our, and it lays out 15, in my contract laid out, 15-year amortization, 4.9% interest rate, 20% down. Very straightforward. Fixed rate, very straightforward. Contact the title company. I want you to do title search, history, and insurance on this property. And obviously, I'm going to wire my money to you. You're going to conduct a transaction when we are ready to close and it's done clearing the title search history and insurance. And once the title company was done with their portion, that's all you had to do. There's no underwriting. There's no income verification. Some seller financers, same thing with like all cash deals, wholesalers, they might want proof of funds like, okay, do you have the 20% down for a down payment? So literally a screenshot from your phone. Here's my bank account, screenshot, email it off. That'll suffice. Try that with a Fannie or Freddie lender. It ain't gonna fly. So seller financing is fantastic. It's simplistic. Are there different challenges with it? Sure. Could somebody try to take advantage of you? Yeah, sure. That's another reason why I'm going to point you back to step number 1 of out-of-state real estate investing. Get a network of other experienced investors that you can rely on who can check your work for you, keep you protected. By the way, some of you might be asking yourself, Mike, how long is this live stream going to go? That's a great question. As long as the battery in my camera lasts. I think if that battery dies, it'll probably cut the live stream. And I think it will like end it, and then I would have to restart, so I won't. So your time with me is limited. Take advantage of it while you can. Okay, couple more questions, and we're going to get back into what I was talking about. I keep saying that. It keeps not happening. Brian Beck, howdy. Howdy. My best Dion impression. REI Stoners, I've only been to the last 2 meetups. Okay, cool. So we'll meet each other at the next one then. Sounds good. REI Stoners, maybe I'll see you at the next one. Yeah, exactly. Dividend Dave, how many homes have you seller financed? 2. How many do I wish that I could seller finance? As many as I possibly can. This is how the Christian and Cody do such a good job. All of their apartment deals are all seller financed. A lot of these, they're doing 0 down. You can do 0 down. The terms can be whatever you want. It's very powerful to be able to say, I'll overpay for a property. I will overpay you for the property, but on my terms. Because I mean, think about it. If you buy a $500,000 house off the MLS and you use traditional financing, you're not paying the bank $500,000. The bank pays $500,000. They own the house. Now you're going to pay the bank back $800,000 over the next 30 years, the course of the life of that loan. Well, cut the bank out, and now you can make a higher offer to the seller if they give you the terms that you want. Okay, you want $500,000 for your house? I can overpay you for that. Or maybe you think it's already overvalued and really it's $400,000. Okay, all right, fine. I can give you the number you want, but amortized over a long enough period with a small enough interest rate that the cash flow that I will generate each month will make it worth it for me. I would overpay $1 million for a house if they would let me amortize it over 100 years with a 1%, interest rate. Is that going to happen? Obviously, it's not going to happen. But the mental game that I want you to play here is the price isn't that big of a deal, within reason. The price isn't that big of a deal. Can you get terms? I can pay $1 million for a house if I only have a $1 a month payment. Can you get terms that make your cash flow good, that allow you to have the rent be so much more than the costs and expenses to pay for it, that you have such a big buffer zone that it's, well, I mean, I don't care if I'm overpaying for it because I'm living on the monthly cash flow. If I hold this property long enough, eventually it's going to inflate up to that value anyways. Again, this does not mean be reckless and literally go out there and offer $1 million on a $20,000 house. That's not what I'm trying to say. But don't be afraid of overpaying, because again, with the bank, you're going to pay 40% more than what the actual value of the house is by the time you're paying the bank off. So just do that with someone else. Split the difference. Overpay by 20% to them, 10% to them, and get the property on the terms you want. Is it possible to get another mortgage for just 10% down as an investment property, or do you have to save 20 to 25% every time? It's a great question. So there actually, up until just a couple months ago, there was Teachers Credit Union they were doing loans in Indiana. I think they might have been out of Michigan. And they were doing 10% down, no PMI, 10% down, 30-year fixed rate mortgages. Teachers Credit Union, TCU. Never heard of anybody else doing this, but you can find this with like some local credit unions where they will have loans that they're not intending to sell to Fannie or Freddie. They're going to keep them in-house on their own books. And if that's how they're going to do it, they can give you whatever loan they want. Whatever, just like seller financing. They're not trying to sell what's it called? A conventional, not, I don't know if conventional is the right word. If they're not trying to sell a loan that has to meet the standards to be purchased by Fannie or Freddie, they're going to keep it. They can loan you whatever they want. So keep that in mind. Is it easy to find those types of loans? No. Again, see networking. Everything goes back to networking. This is why the big Zoob is the big Zoob, and he taught me, talk to everybody. Everything in life is about who you know. So you need to know as many people as you can. I got on the SWAT team at only having 2.5 years on. Why? Because I worked really hard on the road, got into a bunch of crazy cases, met some old salty detective who had 25 years on with the team, and he was like, man, I like this kid. He's going to come to training with me. And you know the right people because you do the work, and you know the right people, good things happen to you in life, with real estate, with work, everything. All right, I'll stop preaching. Have you done a zero down seller finance deal? No. If so, what were the terms, if you can discuss? Dividend Dave, I have not. I've heard of these deals. I believe Cody and Christian have. They have a YouTube channel and Instagram channel. You chat with them, check with them. I don't want to talk about things that I guess I haven't done. It's not that complex. The same principles apply. Okay, great. Mr. Seller, you want this price? No problem. I'll pay you that price. We're going to amortize it over 30 years, but I'm not going to put any amount of money down. But, maybe 5 years later, 10 years later, we're going to have a balloon where all the money's due and you got to refinance out or sell the loan. There's so many different ways you can structure something. I'll give you 5% down now and then 15% down a year from now for my total 20% down. I'll give you 10% down today and 10% down 6 months from now for my total 20% down. If they agree to it, you can do whatever you want. And in terms of the terms, it's just whatever you agree to. If two consenting adults agree to these terms, it's all good. Ryan Allen, I found a property on the MLS and from a coworker that is listed for $529K. I offered $575. So finance, you're just waiting to hear back. It's a great strategy. Yeah, fantastic. If they have, enough equity to be able to carry the note. I think Mike talks about the 50-40-10, where like you get a mortgage, they carry 40% of it, and then you come in with 10% down. Different strategies like that. I haven't had to use it. Most of the houses that I'm buying in Gary, Indiana are so cheap that I don't have to come up with as creative strategies as those. But as I look forward to, hopefully, I'd love to buy a fourplex as my next property here in Washington that I could house hack. Traditional financing or potentially seller financing. So I may be looking at some of these strategies myself. You gave me great options concerning your answer to zero down. Thanks. No problem, Dividend Dave. Oh, shoot, the lumberjack, big dog. The loan where the CU or bank hold the paper is called portfolio. You can ask for them by name when calling. Yeah, so again, this is another great reason why, as much as I feel very blessed when people say that I should be an amigo, I've got good experience. I've done a bunch of things. But these guys, Matt, he's closed on, I think he has 40-something buildings. I know he's 121 units, but he's 40-something. He has done 40 transactions. I've done 8. 40 is 5 times more than me, and 2 decades worth of experience. There's a reason why I don't want to talk out of my wheelhouse. We can go to the real experts right here. Okay, sweet. I think we've actually made it through all the questions. Great. Okay, let me get back to my little topic over here. Okay, we touched on this. Building a team. The most important member of your out-of-state real estate investing team is going to be the other network of investors, because they are going to be the ones who refer you to every other member of your team after that. After you have this network of other investors who are on your side, who are helping you out, not charging you anything, the next most important person is going to be your property manager. Constantly, people are saying, I can't find a good property manager. I've heard about this out-of-state market, but I don't know who uses a property manager. I've had problems with these property managers. My mentor, Mark, owned at one point 3 properties in Birmingham, Alabama. He finally just sold all of them. And if it wasn't for the insane inflation that we've had over the last couple of years, causing these houses to go up in value so much, he might have even had to sell at a loss, overall loss, because of issues he had. Could never find a good property manager. I believe he went through 3 property managers in like a 2-year period until he finally just, I'm done, I'm out. It's very difficult. This is a good reason why you want the referrals from other trusted people, because you don't want to deal with a year or 2 or 3 of issues, people stealing from you. You don't know the market. You don't know the culture, and your property manager looks at you as big rich money bags from out of state swooping in. Let's get a little bit off this guy. You don't want that. So property manager. After your property manager, the next most important person is going to be the contractors and repairmen. You need to make sure that you have people who are not going to price gouge you and, again, ruin your returns because you can't afford to make repairs. You budget 10 to 20% for CapEx, vacancies, maintenance, repairs, and then you end up paying all this extra money because you don't have a good roofer, or they're just lying to you about what actually needs being repaired. I'm going to spend $3,600 just to remove a couple of different trees on this one house that I just purchased. But I trust the people out there because I know them and I do business with them. And if they tell me, dude, I'm telling you this tree needs to go, all right, if you think so, we're going to get rid of this tree and a couple other trees. I actually trust these people. I'm not worried about it. So property managers, contractors and repairmen, and then real estate agent. Now, real estate agents are very important. The reason they're not a little higher on the list is because there's so many real estate agents. It's usually pretty easy to find somebody good. There's a couple of different strategies you can use. You can just use one real estate agent. It's not a bad strategy. Nobody wants to waste someone's time, especially if the real estate agent that you're using is from at a distance, going out to every house and looking at them by themselves, doing a lot of legwork for you to report back to me because I can't be there. I'm not going to fly out there to look at listings. I think only one house that I bought, I actually saw before I purchased it. All the rest of them, I bought sight unseen. For me, you have to have an agent that you trust. And you want to make sure that these people get paid. Your reputation is important. You don't want to waste their time. So if you're using one agent, you want to make sure you're actually benefiting them by buying a house through them. Now, that being said, if my agent is going out to houses and we're emailing back and forth about what I'm seeing on realtor.com or the MLS, that's the person I'm going to use. She knows what my buy box is. She does not know how I run the numbers. It's not her job. Don't trust an agent, not that they're lying to you, but they just look for different things. They don't know how to run numbers and pick a good rental property. They're usually a lot better at helping somebody find the one when it comes to the right home, but not from an investment standpoint. But I do rely on her heavily to go out, look at a property, make sure that they didn't just take pictures that hide all the crappy stuff. That's her job. And then to write the offer and negotiate on my behalf. There's a lot of agents, so that's why they're not a little bit higher up. You do need to treat your agent right. It is important. But as Michael Zuber always talks about, I say the same thing. You want to talk to as many people as you can. I mean, you can talk to plenty of different agents. Now, I won't have multiple agents making house calls to me off of Realtor because then I would feel bad. Somebody's not going to get paid. But I will talk to other agents and say, yeah, man, if you find a deal, and I don't use that phraseology because agents hate that. If you find a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house priced between $60,000 to $90,000 that we think can rent for $900 to $1,100 in Gary, Indiana, in a neighborhood that has no burnt-out houses and no abandoned houses on the block, I'll buy that house with you if you bring me and find me that deal. That's the deal right there. And if they find one, they come to me and it's not on Realtor, it's off market, whatever, I will do the deal with them. My real estate agent, Kenzie, who I usually work with to actively search through the MLS, she and I use her for all the purchases that I find just on the market, just on the MLS. But she never gets unhappy or offended because we've had the conversation, dude, I found something off market through a wholesaler, through another agent that brought me something, through networking, through a friend of mine who was going to close on it and then decided they couldn't close on it. And then it got passed my direction. She's not offended by that. She understands that's just the name of the game. But I don't send her out to 30 houses and then contact some listing agent to see if they'll cut me a 2% break if I let them double dip on the commission. No, you don't want to do that. That's not a good idea. Okay, let me double check, make sure I'm good through these questions. Oh shoot, I think they started tipping around. Fudge. Okay, good. All right. Oh, maybe not. Okay, perfect. Journey Diaz says, reposting. Thank you for the seller finance explanation. Would you be able to share your contract template? Yes, I can. And do you go with a loan servicer to make/track your payments to seller? So with the seller financing, I use the title company. We signed the seller financing contract. One of the documents we signed was an amortization schedule that shows what's due every single month. It's the same payment every single month. I pay the insurance company and the taxes myself separately. So literally it's just the loan, the principal and interest on the loan. So it will never change over the life of that loan. It's amortized over 15 years at a fixed rate. I just do a Zelle payment from myself to the seller's bank account. I have an online record of it. pay it every single month. Never had a problem. Been doing it for almost 2 years at this point. I don't anticipate there ever being a problem because I have an electronic record that I've paid him what our contract says every single month on time for the last 2 years. But what was the bottom of that question? Do you go with a loan servicer to make? No, I don't. I just keep track for myself. I pay at the same time I'm paying all my other mortgages. I pay that one also. Okay, so other investors, property manager, contractors and repairmen, real estate agents, wholesalers. Wholesalers are great people to talk to. They're the kings of finding off-market deals. They could be your window to seller financing deals because they find people who have all cash. I just bought my first wholesale deal, $29,000 all cash house. I'm gonna have to do a full-blown remodel on it. That's the one I'm removing the trees for. And one of the things I did was ask, is this individual open to terms? Are they willing to consider seller financing? Could I pay them 50% now and 50% in 3 months? Just try and see if there's an option for me to keep more cash in my pocket longer. I will always take that option, even though I could pay it all right then and there. Why not pay him half now, pay him another half in 3 months? Why not? Just in case. Who knows? I'd rather keep the money in my hands as long as possible. And they weren't. They wanted to get it. They wanted to just get the deal done and get out. That might have been the seller. That might have been the wholesaler that was pressing that. He might have just wanted to get paid too. But I always ask. You can always ask. Are they open to terms? Are they willing to do seller financing? They might be. Okay, hold on. All right. So you've built your team. You've selected a network. We've talked about the team and the most important people on the team. I feel like my battery's going to die at some point here. We've been going for over an hour. Next thing you want to do is define your buy box. You just heard me explain what mine is. 3-bedroom, 1-bath houses, $60,000 to $90,000, rent for $900 to $1,100. The reason, the way that I came to this as the buy box was through a bunch of different ways, I guess. I didn't want to do single, small rentals, 1-beds, 1-baths, studios. Not that I'm against them, not that they can't be profitable, not that some people don't do them wonderfully. A lot of people do. There's a lot of turnover with those. People are looking to upgrade to bigger places as they become more advanced in life. They get a girlfriend, they get a boyfriend, let's go get a 2-bedroom together. They have kids, let's go get a 2-bedroom together. They are done with college, let me get out of here. Turnover is what kills your profitability as a landlord. You want to keep tenants as long as possible. Dion has something like 16 units and he's only ever had 3 turnovers because someone died, and I don't remember what the other ones were, but turnover, if you can avoid turnover, that's just fantastic. You don't have to worry about somebody not paying. You've got a good tenant. They're happy. Even at below market value rents, it's guaranteed. I don't want turnover. So that's why I didn't want smaller units. All right, so what about larger units? What about 5 bedrooms? Well, if they can afford to rent a 5-bedroom, they're probably getting pretty close to being able to afford to just buy a 5-bedroom. So we're going to have turnover on that end as well. So the sweet spot seems to be 3-bed, 1-bath, and maybe it's different in your market, but it seems to be in my market. 3-bedroom, 1-bath units seem to be the best option because the family moves in. They're getting a good deal. What they're paying for in rent is getting them more space than probably what their mortgage would get them. So they're not really feeling the constrained pressure to move out too quickly. You keep the property nice and in good condition, and you repair it all the time, and you keep them there longer and longer. Am I sad when people move out? Yes. Do I want them to move out? No. If they do go and find their way to buying a house, I would be more than happy for them. But ultimately, I want to keep people in the properties as long as possible. And it seems to me that in Gary, Indiana, that is more likely to happen with 3-bed, 1-bath houses. And I've only had houses in Gary for 2.5, 3 years, and I've got a couple of tenants who have just been there the whole time. And I would love that to be all of my tenants. So defining your buy box. I knew I wanted to focus in on 3-bed, 1-baths. And so from there, you just start running the numbers. If you decide you want to do student rentals or something like that, then you're going to try to compare and contrast similar style properties. I know Zuber says you can use yield to compare the return on a studio apartment versus a 50-unit apartment building. Whichever one has the best yield is the one he's going to go with. Now that makes sense. I understand what he's saying. However, I think I agree a little bit more with the lumberjack landlord when he says, yeah, but it's really tough to find 50 of these studio apartments that are all giving the same return as this one apartment building. I now have to find 50 more deals like this to put the same amount of upfront capital into to get this return. And that's 50 more transactions. And so I personally, I would probably not try to compare properties that are super different. Zuber does talk about your buy box. He gives you permission to get hyper-focused and ignore the rest of the market. So I don't look at the majority of the Gary, Indiana real estate market. I look at 3-bed, 1-baths and 2-bed, 1-baths, because a lot of the 2-bed, 1-baths are a 2-bedroom with a finished basement or a 2-bedroom with a finished attic. So it's really a 3-bed, but because it doesn't have a closet, it's just a 2-bedroom. But mom and dad are going to put the kids down there and treat it like a 3-bedroom. So, and again, that comes from being an expert in your market, recognizing what things are selling for and understanding how renters are going to live in the place. So that's what I look at, because they're going to rent for the most and cost the least. So I'm not going for the 1% rule. Most of mine are like the 1.5% rule. And I usually average between an 18 to 22% return. And I consider $250 or more a month in positive cash flow as a great deal. 250 to like 200 is like a good deal. 250 and above is a great deal. Sometimes occasionally I'll even get one that's like $300. That's fantastic. Usually by year two, they're all coming up on like $300 a month in positive cash flow. All right, let me take a quick look. So pick the market, build the team, define your buy box, right? Once you've defined the buy box, you're looking every single day. This is part of defining the buy box. You're looking every single day, and you're going to start to notice trends. You're going to notice that most of the properties you're looking at, what they'll rent for versus what they're priced at, it's cash flowing $180 a month, 8% cash on cash return. Okay, this one's cash flowing $220 a month with a 14% cash on cash return. And then all of a sudden one day you're like, dang, this thing cash flows $290 a month and has a 21% cash on cash return. Dude, I've looked at 80 deals. This is the only one that does this. I better recheck my math. I must have screwed up. You recheck the math. I didn't screw up. This is actually a good deal. This is my unicorn. This is my opportunity. And for those of you who are hesitant to invest out of state, you're worried about making a mistake. In order to overcome fear, in order to overcome the doubt, the concern, the stress, the worry, the fear, if you've done the hard work of look at your market every day, when that unicorn deal pops up, the only fear that you're going to have anymore is going to be the fear of missing out on that opportunity, because you've looked every day for 4 months and you've never seen a deal like this. I better get this one under contract today because this is a unicorn and I want to take advantage of it. Fear goes out the window. You're no longer stressed because you did the work and had the discipline and you spent time looking at the market. Now you have the ability to discern and recognize value. And that skill is very important. It's what makes you a good real estate investor. So make sure you're being disciplined. So define the buy box, do the daily discipline. Now you got to make the offer. Could be through a wholesaler, could be through seller financing, could be through a real estate agent. I'm not going to get into the specifics there, but there's multiple different ways to buy properties. If it's off the MLS and you're using a real estate agent, dude, contact your agent. I want you to go look at this one. Depending on how hot your market is, they may be able to get out there, they may not. If you've been networking properly, your agent might know the agent, or know of the agent. You might be able to get an inside scoop, or you might even know the agent yourself if you've been networking properly. But you're going to get an offer made. A couple of mine have been through a real estate agent. Usually I try to send my real estate agent and my property manager out to the house before I make the offer. Very easy if you're doing single family homes off the MLS and they're empty. Very easy. A lot more difficult if you're buying a duplex or something like that, because there's going to be tenants already living in it, or even like a turnkey property, tenants already living in it, or in my case with a wholesaling deal, tenants already living in it. Now you got to schedule around the tenants, and it's a little more complex to get the real estate agent and the property manager out there. A little bit more complex situation, but still worth it. I absolutely have to have somebody that I know and trust walk through that property before I make an offer. And then I do not do no contingencies. I don't have to always have a formal inspection. I trust my property manager because it's a husband and wife team, and the husband heads up all of the contracting and construction work that gets done on the rentals. They subcontract out a whole bunch, but he's got a great eye for problems. So I will be okay with an informal inspection done by him or formal inspection done by a reputable home inspector. But I don't buy sight unseen with no inspection. I don't think that's a smart idea. Even in a hot market, I think it's just not smart to do. Let me make sure I'm not missing any questions here. Okay. Afro-capitalist, is it is it ever wise or possible to manage your property long distance? So I kind of touched on this earlier. The only time I think that it would be is if, like in my case with my house hack here in Seattle, if I currently manage it, self-manage. If I was to move away, could I continue to manage here? Yeah, I already know the contracts. I already know the market. I have family in the area that can swing by the house and check on it if I'm concerned my tenants are doing something dumb. Would I ever want to try to self-manage a property at a distance when I don't know the local laws, don't know the local culture, haven't seen the property, the tenants could be taking advantage of me, stealing from me? No, I think it's a terrible idea to try to manage properties from a distance. It's a terrible idea. You want a property manager. Oh, shoot. One rental at a time. Dang. The big Zoob even checked in. That's quite the compliment. He goes, look at you go. Love how you were giving back. Well, 4 cards from Zuber here. One of his books here. The other book's downstairs on my brother's desk because he's been reading it and watching the channel, my little brother. So, Zoob, I couldn't have done probably any of it without you. So thank you if you're still here watching this. Dividend Dave, what platforms, apps do you use to receive rents? So great question. All of my properties in Gary, Indiana, the property manager that has the majority of my property uses Buildium. I'm not a huge fan of the Buildium website. Like when it comes to like running the expense reports for properties, it's a little complex. I don't really like it that much, and I'm relatively tech savvy. But yeah, they just, like if I have to pay or an expense, they just create an event in there, and then I as the owner go in and I already have my bank account information entered, and I just pay for whatever the repair is, like these trees I'm going to take down. And then they do automatic dispersals to me at the end of the month when they run the rent rolls and pay it out. The other property manager uses, I think it's called Appfolio. I'm pretty sure. But I log on to it through that property manager's like local business website. So I can't remember what it's actually called. I log on through their website, but again, it's the same thing. I like it. I think it's a little more user friendly, but it's just automatic deposits to and from me, from the property managers. I don't deal directly with the tenants. Here in Washington, with my self-managed duplex, I had one tenant that would write me a check. So I'd get a check every month, just direct deposit that check with picture deposit. And then that tenant moved out. I had another tenant move in. They did Zelle transfers to me for 2 years. Then they moved out. The tenant that I have next door right now just renewed their lease. The first year they were here, they paid the entire year upfront, $26,000 cash for an entire year, upfront cashier's check. Boom, here you go. I was like, well, thank you. That's fantastic. Fantastic. And then it's getting ready to have to renew their lease. And I take it over there. I walk over there to them. I'm like, all right, you guys have been fantastic tenants. I love having you here. You know, we've never had a single problem, single complaint, single repair, nothing. I'm not even going to raise your rent. I'm so happy to have you guys here. I'd love to have you stay. So we just got to figure out how you want to continue to pay. You know, do you want to do monthly payments like via Zelle or Venmo, or like what would work best for you? A check? And I kid you not, the guy goes, oh, we just thought we were going to write you another check for the entire year. But I mean, I guess we can do monthly payments. You know, I mean, if you've already written the lease out like that, I was like, hold your horses, sir. Allow me to go reprint a couple of pages. No problem at all. Happy to do it. I'll reprint this lease. Be more than happy to take a check for the entire year's rent up front. No problem at all. So they wrote me another check for the cashier's check for the entire year's rent up front. Craziness. Ryan Allen, my market is still so hot. I sometimes just submit an offer after I run the numbers. Yeah, that's not a bad point. So sometimes if the market is so hot, you might have to submit an offer contingent upon owner walkthrough or contingent upon inspection, even if it's an informal inspection. So I'm not against that, because if you have the contingency in place that I get to actually physically walk through it before we progress with the deal, then you can still get out. And it could be for any reason. You know, it's not like you walk through and there has to only be certain things busted or something. Like if you contingent upon my inspection or contingent upon my property manager's inspection, which I've done a number of times, if they walk through it and give me the go ahead, or we talk about what we think the repairs are going to be and they give me the go ahead, then I'm good. But I would not buy a property sight unseen with no inspection. I don't think it's a good idea. Lumberjack. Don't like Buildium. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. It's heavy and clunky. Appfolio is good, but expensive and tough to onboard new properties. Door Loop is the up and comer. Once you get decent unit count, tons of cool features. Yeah, so I mean, again, so there's from a much bigger dude than me here, both in size and in properties. Buildium. Does it work? Yes. Am I a fan? No. I don't like the setup of the website. I don't like the way I have to run the property. I'm not a fan of it. Can I make it work? Sure. Is it enough in and of itself for me to be like, all right, I'm leaving this person who I have no issues with other than this? No, it's not. But like you said, it's clunky. I'm not a fan. Appfolio, I've had no problems. It's very easy to see everything like income versus expenses over a time period. Like the monthly statements, I like it a lot better. Apparently, it's pricey. Okay, so I'm sure my battery's getting ready to die. Let's see if we got anything else. You've made the decision to go out of market. You picked a market. You built a team. We talked about building the team. You defined a buy box. You finally made the offer. The offer gets accepted. You own the house. Maybe there's tenants in it. Maybe there's not tenants in it. You should have let your property manager know the second that you made an offer. And as I mentioned earlier, I would highly recommend you get the property manager to actually walk through and ideally have an opportunity to meet the tenant and introduce themselves to the tenant and start building that relationship so that they know, because sometimes you buy a house with tenants in it who aren't great tenants. And you need to let them know that the new sheriff's in town. We are not going to let certain things slide that we're sliding. This is going to be our standard. This is how we're going to operate. You want that FaceTime between the tenant and your property manager if you can get it. Once the property's been purchased and you actually own it, now you're operating on a month-by-month basis. It really is just as simple and as passive as if there's months that are going by where there's no problems, there's no issues, there's no concerns, you're probably not getting any phone calls. You're probably getting them once a month. Here's your income and expense statement. And this is what the direct deposit receipt to your account is going to be in 3 days. You just get the do not reply email. It can be that easy. Or you can have issues. If you get to enough units, eventually you're going to have issues every month because you just have enough of them. With my property manager, we have it set up that if there's any repair that's under $150, they can just do it. They don't have to authorize it with me. Just do the repair, get it done. I'll see it on the next month's income expenses. Yeah, a window broke because somebody tried to break in. Yeah, okay, sure they did. Yeah, right. No, it was your kids. We know it. You know it. Whatever. We get it fixed. But yeah, there's going to be minor repairs like that. If a big repair comes along, something major, I had a freaking lady go on vacation for like 2 weeks. And apparently the sewer system backed up in the basement, and she came home to like something like 6 inches of sewage in the entire basement. And the basement's huge, like 1,200 square foot basement. And then here in Washington, that'd be like an $8,000 fix, I'm sure. I only spent $600. Couldn't believe it. $600 to clean it all out, rod the lines, baffled. But, you know, I mean, these are just the day-to-day dealings of land. Did I get a phone call about it? Yes. Did we have a conversation and pictures about what happened? Yes. Was it anybody's fault? No, that's just kind of the stuff that happens. If you're not prepared to deal with crap, no pun intended, like that happening, might not be the right job for you. But yeah, it could be the first month you close on a new property, you deal with an eviction, you deal with some crappy, no pun intended, problem like that. Could be 5 years down the road. It's going to happen eventually. You hope that it doesn't, but you plan for when it does, and you deal with it as it comes. That, I think, is about everything. So maybe we're going to do a little quit while I'm still ahead. 19 people watching, 17 likes. Guys, you are the best. I really, really appreciate the super chats. Let me go back up, see if I can scroll back up. Can I find them all? Chris Ledbetter, if you're still watching, dude, thank you so much. $9.99, feeding the algorithm. Thank you so much. I hope you follow me on Instagram. I'm always happy to help. Lumberjack, Big Dog, you're a stud. Sammy, my son, votes REI Avengers. I forgot to read that out. Your son is a stud. I like it. Thank you for watching, checking in, and bullying me into this. Dion, $9.99. I will be on live on your channel, but not today. Dion, yes, you will be one day when you teach me how to Zoom. Guys, if you don't have any other questions, I think we've done most of them. Richard Gamino with the beer, right? Mm-hmm. Appreciate that. And all right, Ryan Allen, my first eviction was 5 months after purchase. My first eviction, I did a video on it a couple months ago. I had been a landlord for 3 years. I think it was 6 properties. And I finally had my first eviction. I bought a duplex, seller financing. The tenant probably wouldn't have gotten evicted, but he got arrested when he was out of state visiting his mom. And he was put on house arrest in the other state at his mom's house. Not very cool, first of all. Second of all, kind of hard to come back and pay your rent and do stuff when you're on house arrest in another state. We had to evict the guy. We had to evict the guy, so that's what it was. Journey LDS, thank you for your time and giving back. Mike, happy to have been part of the first live stream. Thank you, and look forward to many more. I appreciate it, guys. So until next time, if you have topic ideas for next time, oh, shoot, like I said, if you are subscribed to the channel, Screenshot that you're subscribed before 5,000. Send me an Instagram DM with a screenshot, and you will get a military-style challenge coin that I'm going to design specifically for the followers of my channel. It'll probably have something like Halo-related on it, real estate, but it'll be a legit coin, little fan group. I want to support the people who supported me, so that'll be for you guys. Final thoughts that I have. Yeah, man. Life's what you make of it, so do great things. Laura Semeniego, thank you. We'll see all of you guys later. Until next time, catch you later. And